To go along with my beginner's guide, I've made an intermediate guide here with some more intermediate tips. There are some beginner's tips mixed in there as well that I may have forgotten in the first video, but let's just get into it. Okay, in terms of arc and arc weaknesses, we'll go over each arc here in the codex. So with the snitch, if you notice on the snitch, it has 3 white pieces of plating on it. If you take out 2 of those white plating, then the snitch just falls to the ground and explodes. So that's a very quick way to get rid of them. For a wasp, you can shoot their thrusters. If you take out 2 of their thrusters, they'll fall down and explode. However, if you're using a gun like the anvil, all you have to do is shoot the wasp 3 times. You don't even have to aim for the thrusters. For the hornet, I hate these things. These things are the worst, my worst enemy. They are very similar to the wasp, where if you shoot 2 of their thrusters, they'll go down. However, the front 2 thrusters have extra armor, so they will take an extra shot. They're very evasive. Now, their little shock move that they do is very easy to dodge, but they are very annoying. Pops are easy, just shoot them once. Now, sometimes I miss, and then they come and explode in my face, but pops just take 1 shot and they're done. For fireballs, if you're using a gun like the anvil, you can shoot them no matter what, and they'll die in 1 hit. If you don't have an anvil, all you have to do is wait for the fireball to get up close. It'll open its armor up, and if you just shoot that white part, they will die instantly. Ticks are also very annoying. They're like little spiders. They run around real quick. They're very hard to aim at, for me at least. But ticks are very easy. You just shoot them once, and they will explode. These turrets, you'll know it's a turret because it has like a glowing blue laser sight. They're stationary, though. They're quite easy to dodge as well, as long as you have some cover. So just keep pelting them with bullets, and they will be gone in no time. From the turret, we're actually going to skip over to Sentinel. Sentinels are similar to turrets, where they're just stationary in one spot. However, they don't have a blue glow. They have like a red laser coming out. They also make this distinct noise. Sentinels are really easy to dodge. When the red laser is pointed at you, you're safe. There's nothing to worry about. Sentinels will only fire at you when they warm up, and you'll notice that will happen when there are these 3 yellow lines in a triangular formation. They start out and they converge on your body. Once they converge on your body, that's when you know the Sentinel will shoot. So just hide behind some cover or dodge, and you should be totally fine. Okay, Rocketeers. I love this enemy, but they're also extremely irritating because they can kill you so easily. There are a few ways to take them out. Some people use showstoppers, which shock the Rocketeers, and they just fall to the ground, and you can just pelt them with bullets or stand on top of them and shoot them from the underside. You can also shoot off 2 of their thrusters, very similar to the Wasps and the Hornets, and the Rocketeer will then fall down to the ground. However, it's easier said than done. For me, when I use the anvil, I just shoot it right in the face, or I try to get the thrusters off, but if I miss, it's no problem, and it goes down in about 20 anvil shots or so. However, now that I have access to wolf packs, it only takes 2 wolf pack grenades to take it out. You could use seeker grenades too. It takes about 15 or 16 of them, I believe, that I've seen someone report on YouTube, so they're not so bad. Leapers look scarier than they actually are. They crawl around, they jump really far. They have this, like, if you get too close, they have this yellow exploding aura around them. But as long as you're hiding within a building and there's a doorway, the Leapers can't get in. They can't do anything to you. They don't shoot anything. So just keep pelting it with bullets. You can shoot off the armor off of their legs. You can also shoot off their legs. So they fall to the ground, or they stumble and they can't really walk properly with their 3 legs. Or you can just continue to shoot it in that, you see that red circle there, you just shoot it right there in the middle, and eventually it will be taken out. Another thing you can do is set it on fire. So if you use blazing grenades, set them on fire, then continue shooting them, and they should go down rather quickly. Bastions and bombardiers are taken out pretty similarly. They have a similar build. Bastions are the ones with the machine guns, and the bombardier is the one that shoots the artillery. And basically, you shoot the yellow sections of their legs, their joints. They'll eventually topple over. Then you can make your way to the back and start pelting it in the back. But the ways that I've been taking them out are using the hull cracker. So here's some footage of taking out a bombardier with the hull cracker. Just shoot them in the legs, shoot them in the back. Eventually, they'll explode. And you could also use 2 or 3 wolf packs, depending on how well you aim and hit them with it. You could also smoke it. So throw a smoke grenade at the Bastion or Bombardier. They won't be able to track you. Then you can go to the back and place a deadline mine there. But be careful when placing deadline mines on the Bombardier, especially. They also have that yellow explodey aura that the Leaper has. I don't actually know what it's called. So it will damage you and knock you back when you try to get close. The Bombardier also has 2 little friends with it called spotters. The spotters are flying in the air, and if they notice you, the Bombardier can actually see you. So even if you're hiding behind cover, if the spotter can see you, the Bombardier can see you, and the artillery locks onto your position and can hit you from miles away. So take out those spotters as quickly as possible just by shooting them. Now we're going to skip over to the Shredder. The Shredders are the new type of enemy that are in Stella Montis. They're very quick. They have this kind of shotgun move where bullets just fly out from every direction if you're not behind cover, but they're fairly easy to take out. So as long as there's a piece of cover, you can just run behind the cover before they start shooting, and they make a very distinct noise right before they're about to shoot. And you can just take them out by aiming for their blue thrusters on the side. You can also shoot off the headpiece. They'll be taken out rather quickly. So you may notice when you're looking in the codex, you don't see the surveyor here. That's because the surveyor is actually in the industrial section. The surveyor is that metal ball that rolls around. It occasionally shines a blue light in the sky. You will need to destroy one for a quest. Those are very easy to take out, especially if you have a gun like the anvil. It just requires a number of shots. You'll break off its armor, and the pieces will be scattered all over the place. It's more of a pain because you got to chase it around, but it's not very difficult to destroy. Now, you could also use showstoppers to make it freeze in place, which is what the quest actually tells you to do. But I just chase it and shoot it with the anvil because I'm too lazy to bring showstoppers with me. For the Queen and the Matriarch, these enemies are actually meant for multiple squads in order to take them out. However, you can do it solo. It would just take a lot of ammo and a lot of resources. And they work kind of in a similar way to the Bombardier and Bastion, where you can shoot their legs and take off the armor. And you can also shoot the core. Now, sometimes the Queen and the Matriarch, they'll show their core, so you just shoot them in that core if you have the chance. Some people have been using deadline mines, so if you can grapple up on top of them and put deadline mines, it'll take them out rather quickly. However, again, it's meant for multiple squads in order to take them out, and they're not very hard as long as you have some sort of cover and just keep shooting it. One of the basic tips I forgot to mention was the interact and reload behavior setting. This is under a wireless controller in the settings menu. For me, I chose tap to reload. If you look at the description on the top right there, it says tap to reload, hold to interact. So you have to hold the square button in order to interact with things. It takes some getting used to, but it's better than, I'm shooting something, I'm fighting, and I want to reload, but if I'm standing next to a crate and I tap reload, I'll open the crate instead. I don't want that to happen. So I'm standing right here, tap, I can reload my gun. If I hold the button, I'll open the crate. So that's my preferred setting. Another quick setting you may want to look into is the look response curve, again in the wireless controller settings. I just recently set it to linear, and I find that my aiming is much faster, much snappier, whereas I used to have it at the default exponential, which starts off slow and then increases as you tilt the stick. I think linear is the way to go. In terms of charging your shield, if you notice my shield, I'm missing 6 out of my 7 bars. I could use a shield recharger, which is obviously my preferred method because it'll charge 4 bars. But if I was only missing 2, you should use arc power cells instead, as they recharge exactly 2. Arc power cells are found on most of the arc, especially those little tiny ones like pops and fireballs. You'll find tons of these all over the place as long as you are looting. In terms of medium shields, if you notice my medium shield here has 43 out of 100 durability. If I want to repair my medium shield, it would cost 1 arc circuitry and 1 battery. Now that doesn't seem very expensive. However, if you look at the bars here, it would repair 50 durability out of the 100. However, if I were to create a brand new medium shield, it would cost, again, 1 arc circuitry and 4 batteries. Now, it seems like the 4 batteries is steep. However, you get a full 100 out of 100 durability shield, And batteries are a very common resource that drop everywhere. You'll find batteries all over the place, whereas arc circuitry is rare. Now, the other thing is, if we were to instead recycle my medium shield, you'll see that we will get one arc circuitry back. So as long as I keep recycling my medium shield, I don't even have to worry about arc circuitry at all. All I have to worry about are those 4 batteries. Don't repair your medium shields. So speaking of shields, unlike in other games, shields and arc raiders aren't considered extra health. They're actually a damage reduction to your existing health, and they have varying levels of charge. So if we look at the light shield, we have the charge, we got 40 charge, so 4 bars, and the damage reduction is 40%. So as long as you have a shield up, you'll have 40% damage reduction. If we go to the medium shield, which is arguably the best shield in the game, you have a charge of 70, so 7 bars, and your damage reduction is 42.5%. However, there is that 5% reduced movement speed, which can be negated by the skills, so you do run 5% slower. And the heavy shield, which has 80 charge, so only 10 more charge than the medium shield. The damage reduction is 52.5%, but they are very expensive. They require a power rod to create and 2 voltage converters. As you can see, I only have 7 power rods and 5 voltage converters, and I haven't even used those for anything yet. Granted, I haven't been picking up the voltage converters because I do see them here and there, but it is a very pricey shield. So the medium shield arguably is the best shield, and I will continue using medium shields myself. And obviously, when you don't have shield, then your damage reduction is 0%. So it is beneficial to have shields recharged. However, your health is the most important, so you should prioritize healing yourself over charging your shields whenever you take damage. In terms of loadout, my loadout always has a healing item, a shield recharge, adrenaline shot, defibs, and grenades. I used to take 2 ways of recharging my shields, but as I'm getting better at the game and just playing constantly, I don't really have the need to have some extra shields. However, if I were to go up against something like a matriarch and I want to be sure, I will take at least 2 different types of shield with me. So the shield recharger, they're very cheap, and that's the basic. And the surge shield recharger is very good as well. And in terms of healing, now that I have the Vita spray, you can use this as long as you have durability. But let's say we don't have the Vita spray here. I will usually take 5 herbal bandages and 5 regular bandages. And that would be good enough for my loadout. So I do have 10 different ways to heal up my health. I also take 3 defibrillators. Now, it depends on what mode you're playing. So I'm a PvE player. I prefer playing PvE. So I take defibrillators so I can help out and revive other players out in the field. However, if you're playing PvP or you're doing a mix and you don't really care to revive other players, then the defibrillator obviously is not needed. Because of the augment I have, which is the Looting Mark III Survivor, I do have this augmented slot where I put a barricade unit. Sometimes I'll put a door blocker in there, depending on what I'm going for. So here's the door blocker. You can put it in that slot. I like the door blocker because if I have a special key or something and I want to block the door to make sure nobody else comes in, you can put that in. And I do carry some type of grenade. Now, the grenades of my choice is the Seeker grenade, because when you throw the Seeker grenade, it just immediately, as the name implies, it homes onto whatever you're targeting, and it seeks it, and it destroys it. So if you want to kill those hornets and wasps, use some Seeker grenades. And they're also very useful for other arc that are around. So I always take 5 Seeker grenades with me, and I'll interchange them with my adrenaline shot. Now, the adrenaline shot is very useful because once you deplete all of your stamina, you can quickly give yourself an adrenaline shot, and then boom, your stamina is back to 100%. I think it gives a little bit extra too, because it does say here it temporarily increases stamina regeneration. So your stamina is constantly regenerating as you're sprinting, so you get some little extra stamina there. In terms of weapons, I always have my trusty anvil with me, and I do have a silencer on it. But now that I've been finding a lot of volcanoes, I've been keeping one of these as well, just in case. You never know, if you ever need some extra shotgun power, I'll have the volcano there too. Now, I don't really use it much because, as I said, I am more of a PvE player. I don't like shooting players. I like the PvE aspect and cooperating, and, you know, people say it's unicorn land or whatever, but that's my preferred way to play. I haven't used Volcano as much as my anvil, but I keep it with me always now, just in case. Now, if you see the weapons, you'll notice here near the bottom, it says arc armor penetration. The anvil, for example, is a gun that has strong armor penetration. So it's excellent for arc, getting rid of those pieces and to take them down quickly. Whereas the volcano, it has weak armor penetration. So when shooting arc using the volcano isn't as effective as the anvil. The real purpose of the weapons that have weak armor penetration or very weak, as we can see in the Bobcat here, are for PvP reasons. So these weapons will be excellent against other players. So we can see the Stitcher, which has been the meta gun for quite a while. It has very weak arc armor and penetration, but it's one of those guns that is very good against people. So the next tip is all about hiding in bushes. Whenever arc are overhead, if you hide in a bush, the arc can't see you. This wasn't the case when the game first came out, but it was patched with one of the first updates to the game. So use those bushes to your advantage. Next tip is using smokes to your advantage. Whenever you destroy a big arc and you want to go loot them, it's always advisable to throw smoke so that it covers you, especially if you're in a mixed PvE PvP zone. Also, the smokes, as I stated with my Bastion and Bombardier section, was that the arc can't see you through the smoke, so it's always a good idea to keep them handy. You never know when you'll need them. You know when you slide downstairs and they're really loud? Well, there is a way to do that silently. I saw this on YouTube, and again, I can't give credit because I don't remember who it was that showed. But if you jump on the railing and then you slide, totally silent. So Stella Montis is the best map for getting all those materials, for crafting random things. This is great because it has like every single item that you would need in order to not take a free loadout. So we got magnets, we got crude explosives, some extra metal parts, we got coolant you can break down, springs, every basic material that you would need, you will find in Stella Montis. Got lots of mechanical components too, as long as you're searching through all of these. Advanced mechanical components also. These server cabinets are also excellent for things like sensors, wires, processors. And don't sleep on these containers because they usually have blueprints as well on top of all these other basic materials that you can find. I found a lot of blueprints in Stella Montis actually. So I always come here when I need to get some extra materials, find some more blueprints. Now in terms of jumping, you can grab onto ledges. So if you are jumping off the ledge and you won't make the box quite yet, just keep spamming the jump button. So if you check this, I'm not going to grab it because I'm not pressing the button. However, if I go back, I try again, I press the jump button, I'm grabbing the ledges. Always spam that jump button, especially if you think you're going to fall off. So to briefly go back and talk about blueprints once again, now that I have 53 out of the 75 blueprints, I have a little bit more experience than the first go round. While generally blueprints are pretty random for the most part, there are certain blueprints you can only find in certain areas. For example, the snap hook blueprint, which I haven't found yet this time. I had found it prior to the expedition. That can only be found during the electromagnetic storm. Guns like the volcano can only be found in the hidden bunker event. The wolf pack can be found during night raids. Gun attachments would be in gun cases and gun containers, usually. Same with silencers and other attachments. Grenades can be found in any of those green containers on Stella Montis and many desks and drawers, especially in like space travel on Buried City and other areas like that. The augments can be found in black crates, those kind of like chained lockers in the med sick bay, and also in the medical containers that are those white bins in the bookcases. Items like the defibrillator and the Vita spray, which I haven't found, the Vita shot, those are found in medical areas. Things like the deadline mine, the seeker grenade, they're found in Stella Montis specifically. The Bobcat can only be found during the locked gate event, and Bobcat can be found in any container, but there is more of a chance to find them after you open the locked gate. The light stick blueprints, I've been finding them in server cabinets, which is funny, but yeah, I have all of the light stick blueprints, not that I ever make them, but they're all in the server cabinets. The blueprints that are quest rewards are the Berletta, the Hull Cracker, the Lure Grenade, and the Trigger Nade. You can get them from finishing quests. There are many guides on it. I believe the Gaming Merchant, he has an excellent video on where to find all the blueprints, so please check it out. And yeah, it is a journey, it is an experience to find all the blueprints, so I wish you the best of luck. The last thing I want to say about blueprints is if you are in the PvE match-made games, then you should get on that Prox Chat and let everybody know of your intentions, of what you're looking for, and you will be lucky because I have received many blueprints from other raiders just walking around, usually at Extract. Some people come up to me and say, hey, do you need a wolf pack? Yeah, sure. Hey, do you need a deadline? Absolutely. Hey, would you like this looting Mark III Survivor, which happened a couple days ago, and I was so shocked? Yeah, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. So the unicorn zones, unicorn lobbies, the Care Bear areas, I love you guys. I love this way of playing the game, and I appreciate every single one of you. If you made it this far, I just want to thank you for taking the time to watch my video. I hope you found some of these tips useful for your future gameplay, and if so, please consider liking the video and subscribing to my channel to see more of my content. If you have any other tips that you would like to share with other raiders, please leave a comment below. That would be awesome. Well, that's it for me. Hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Anyone have a defib by any chance?